Grant Smith, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a while actually since we've caught up in one of these interviews, so thank you for taking the time out. Just wanted, before we look at this season, to take a few steps back and look at your early time with Bromley. Why Bromley? Why did you choose to come here?
I think for me it was the persistence from the manager. Obviously I had sort of, over the summer of that year, I had sort of probably four or five sort of different chats with him. I wasn't initially too keen on coming here just because location for me sort of personally, but he just sort of kept picking up the phone, kept trying to get me here, kept sort of trying to persuade me, and eventually that was the real sort of thing that pushed me over the line to sort of say, you know, a manager here really wants me to be here, so I thought, yeah, let's give it a go.
And like you say, he was persistent, he targeted you, really wanted you. Does it mean that a little bit more coming from a manager who's been a goalkeeper in his career? Yeah,
definitely. Obviously, whenever I've played against Bromley, I've always obviously known that he was an ex-goalkeeper. I always found it really interesting how the sort of dynamic of him being a manager, sort of having his goalkeeper sort of brain on, but obviously having a goalkeeping coach as well. I always found that interesting how it would sort of work, and if he got involved in or not. So yeah, when he obviously picked up the phone, I'd agreed to come here. Yeah, it was a really good decision for me.
And had you worked under a goalkeeper as a manager previously? Is it different to working under a manager who was either an outfield player or not a player?
I think here it's the same. My question was always, does he get involved? Does he overlook things? But he doesn't. Obviously, he trusts all the staff that he's got under him. And obviously Brannon here, he trusts that he's good enough to do his job, so he leaves him to it and doesn't get involved at all.
I was just going to say that actually, Brannon Daly, the goalkeeper coach, you've got him, you've got the other goalkeepers as well, you've got quite a good little goalkeeping contingent here, haven't you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, obviously Brannon's the head of it. You know, he's in charge of everything. Obviously all the keepers, obviously we've got Longy, Dave, all the young lads as well. Yeah, we've got a really sort of tight-knit group, a bigger group than probably what's normal, than what a lot of clubs are sort of used to, but no, it works really well here.
And a common theme going back to Andy and the recruitment of players that gets said in these kind of interviews is that it's a really tight-knit group. Did you see that early doors when you came in?
Yeah, straight away. Obviously your first day at any club is always quite a daunting sort of day. But when I came here, I felt really at ease. Lads were really welcoming straight away, and it just makes you settle in just that little bit easier and quicker.
And when you came in, it's been sort of the high point of our time in non-league, and we were kind of pushing for that promotion, weren't we? And you know, there were some good times, including the playoffs, weren't they? Do you reflect well on those? Yeah,
exactly. Ever since I came in, sort of last season, obviously I only have good memories of the club. Obviously, I don't really remember any time or any moment that I've not been enjoying my football. Obviously, over your career, you have sort of a lot of highs, a lot of lows. But obviously, last season, I don't really remember any real lows. Obviously, a couple of tricky moments, a couple of sort of maybe bad results and things like that. But we was always able to turn a bad result the following week straight into a win or a good result.
And talking on that, it was a difficult opening month, I think, last season. But after that, we just seemed to settle into our stride. And it kind of felt like there was a belief, not an arrogance by any stretch of the word, but kind of a belief and a bit of a confidence that this could be our year, and it was. Yeah, for sure. I think that was the main thing for us. There was never really any. I think that first month, obviously, you know, we had quite a lot of new players come in, sort of in key positions, which just naturally needed to build relationships and gel together a little bit. And yeah, once we got that, there was no looking back. And looking in the lead up to that playoff period, it was a crazy time, wasn't it? And kind of, when did it click for you? Right, this is where it gets real. We're in this now.
I think you're always looking at. I think now that I'm a bit older, a bit more experienced, I realised the importance and how lucky you are to play at Wembley. You know, I remember back here the semi-finals, the FA Trophy against Solihull, where they beat us. And looking back on it and thinking, you don't get many opportunities to play at Wembley. Luckily enough, I was younger. I think I was 21 when I got my chance to play at Wembley. Back then, I thought, you know, this is the normal, that you sort of probably every other year that you get an opportunity to play at Wembley. But the reality is you don't. So I think when we played the semi-final here, I think that's really when it hit me to say, you know what, you've got an opportunity to go again. The first time I played at Wembley, obviously I was on the wrong end of the result. We didn't get the win. So I thought that was the time where I thought this is the chance to put one right and actually get on the good result.
It's funny you say that, actually, drawing the comparison with the club. 3 Wembley appearances in 6 years, and the first one being a heartbreaking defeat at the last minute. The second one, of course, the brilliant FA Trophy win. And then this one, the most special of them all, and you were obviously a huge part of that. How did you see the game before the penalty shootout? How did you see the game itself? What are your memories of the football?
I think initially, straight after the game, I'd done an interview and I said it felt like a video game. It didn't really feel like I was there, but I wasn't really fully there, if that makes sense. But no, I think it's one of those where everybody says before the game, the whole day will go so quick. And that's exactly what happens. I don't really remember much of the game. I remember obviously highlights and clips and different things, but I don't really remember much of the actual game itself. I just remember the relief and the feeling of joy straight after the game. Obviously running off, celebrating with your families, that's a memory that will live with you for a long time.
And I'm sure another one that we're always talking about it now, the penalty shootout. It was a bit of a topsy-turvy game, wasn't it? Decided by spot kicks, which most Bromley fans will not have fond memories of, but this is a completely different experience, and one that you obviously played a huge part in. Do you have any kind of clear memories of saving those penalties and the feelings and emotions you were going through at the time?
I remember the first penalty, I was surprised actually that I saved it. I didn't really, sort of goalkeeping terms, I didn't really get a great push, a big step or anything like that, but I think just the adrenaline of the occasion sort of just got me that couple of inches further and made obviously able to make a save. And then obviously the second one I managed to save as well. I think at that point you get a bit ahead of yourself and you think I'm going to save all 5 here. But obviously I remember obviously then Ash missing the penalty and thinking, right, I probably need to get maybe 1 here. But luckily enough, obviously, the lads held their nerve and managed to put it to bed.
And it was an iconic moment when Webby stepped up, wasn't it? And the celebrations afterwards. Yeah. But such a great penalty, and I think all of us knew that he was going to score. But it was a special moment, that, wasn't it, as well?
No, it was very special. I think obviously all the captain's armband, the look that he gave the keeper. I think all of that, when you're in the moment, you don't see or notice any of that. I think I was looking away. I wasn't even able to watch that. But no, once I heard the crowd cheer, then I knew it was all done and we got through.
Well, it was a brilliant day, a brilliant summer, a very busy summer for the football club. Lots of changes, as you'll know very well. New players coming into the squad. You're a player who's obviously played in the Football League before, but having been with Bromley in the National League and now in the FL, outfield players often comment on the differences they see between the 2 levels, but really interesting. What's your position on that as a goalkeeper?
I think for me, the biggest thing that I've noticed is the consistency. That in the National League you get players that can be amazing for 2 or 3 games and then they won't be seen for the next 3 or 4. Whereas I think here, the main thing is that consistency, that players are always above average. And I think probably the higher the leagues, that goes up even further. Whereas here, I think, just that we might only concede 1 or 2 chances a game, but the strikers are clinical and they score. Whereas in the National League, we'll get away with, giving up little mistakes or giving off half chances, knowing that, okay, they probably might not score or the finish won't be amazing. Whereas here, we've seen it obviously time one or 2 mistakes before you know it, the ball's in the back of the net.
Started off really well, had a difficult few weeks, but recently we've gone on a good unbeaten run and actually look a really difficult side to break down. Do you feel we're really getting into our stride now? Yeah,
I think so. I think for us it's the confidence now. We knew we wasn't losing many games. We wasn't turning up against teams and they were outplaying us, outfighting us, outsmarting us. It was just, at the time, we was probably on just, we got the wrong side of the luck rather than anything else. And you look back on probably 3 or 4 games where a slightly, whether it's a different decision or something slightly different, we're probably sitting easily in the playoffs now. So we always knew that it wasn't because we was a bad team or we wasn't good enough or we wasn't ready for the step up. We just needed a little bit more consistency in the right areas, and we knew the results would come our way.
And something again, sort of in general terms of your time here, early doors, Wembley, and this season the support has always been there. You've become a firm fans' favourite since the day you walked in. You've got a great relationship with the fans. They've even got a chant for you. How would you describe that relationship?
No, it's amazing. I'm really grateful to have it. I know obviously for some players it might take years to sort of build that relationship up, but yeah, obviously I remember, I think when I first signed, I had that chant in the first pre-season game I turned up to, which was amazing. And it obviously feels really special to have that, and I'm grateful for them for obviously supporting the club and me personally, and yeah, hopefully long may it continue.
And you've been a huge part of the success on the pitch here, but you can also see that behind the scenes there's a lot going on as well, isn't there? It's a club that really wants to keep going. It's not that this is the limit now. Yeah. The sky's the limit. Exactly
that, yeah. Like you said, obviously there's a lot of changes. Obviously all the supporters probably able to see there'll be changes. Obviously things coming out in the news about changes with the club, and so it can only be positive for us players. Obviously, you know, new owners coming in, so we're getting interest now. Sort of worldwide now, and yeah, it can only be positive. And just finally, what are your hopes for the rest of this season? For me personally, just keep playing, keep trying to be consistent, and keep my performances up. Obviously, for a team, look, like you said, the sky's the limit. Hopefully, if we can keep winning games, then who knows? Maybe we can hit those playoffs. Grant, thanks so much for joining us today. Really appreciate your time. Lovely, thanks a lot.